Hey everyone, I just got something to say. And there's people that went to my stream where I just called Denims and Hassan out because they look like they're serious when it came to politics. And if I say that they're stupid because they're making videos to basically use their reaction as a lie against Trump, against politics, and Denims and Hassan, they're not doing so well. So what happened was, and I did say that I would not uh, pay attention to certain people that would be stupid because they're stupid. And so when they think in their head that I'm saying politics shouldn't really be a thing. When I say that, I mean people like them shouldn't actually get themselves involved in politics because Hassan, he is a billionaire. How? How did he get the $1 billion that he used to make himself bigger? When he reacted to politics, right? He literally said that he has done things like the guy we have as a leader. The way he said it was he would make something even if it's not uh even if it's just garbage, right? He would rip someone off. And so I had a few comments. I didn't react to it. I paid some attention, then I just throw it away. I reported those the comments. So I'm like, I'm not stupid enough to completely react and pay attention to those stupid comments. It's weird because, even though they put those comments against me, all they were doing it is as a threat. Okay. See, if you haven't noticed, the people who are control of Israel, Netanyahu, dude, I cannot believe that you think that Hassan's way of politics is a good thing. It's a bad thing. And so I saw a lot of these random emails, fake profiles, and they just have the comments on my video. I'm like, do they think I'm that stupid? But if a Palestine was paying attention, he wouldn't be saying what Hassan said. Okay, Hassan is literally a Trump person. Okay, he has broke rules, he has broke laws, just like what Trump did, but he did it through business. Okay, it's weird. Hassan is someone who looks at the clips, the things that happen to Trump and the things that happen to Pam Bondi. Okay, it's so weird how a lot of people that just want to put other people in a bad shape, in a bad situation, right? You don't let that get into you. You don't let that get to you. All you do is laugh, right? And so a lot of these comments were basically harassment and bullying, okay? If you put a comment that is harassing and bullying, which is basically bullying because you're using the internet to basically cyberbully. And then later down the road, you're going to put a threat and then you're going to put harassment, right? Or you're going to put a harassment first and a threat later. Like, why haven't you guys tried to get more of TikTok, right? Because you know that you don't have no evidence that what Hassan is saying is good. And the thing is, I'm not like everybody else, okay? And I'm not going to agree with Trump and a lot of the things he say because he has just been abusing politics. See, when I say these people shouldn't be into politics, that they shouldn't get involved in politics, it's for a reason. The way they think of politics is at first you see them say, I agree with this. And then they're laughing at a lawsuit from other people. And then they also laugh at both Pam Bondi and Trump early on. And then afterwards, they make it look like, oh, nothing ever happened, right? Nothing's ever happened. So I usually put my opinions on politics, but Hassan's friends, now he's after me. And the thing is, I have nothing against him, but I can't even do anything. I can't afford things. But here's the thing, if he puts someone with disabilities like me in a lawsuit, dude, how are you going to have evidence what I said is wrong or what I said is right? Because what you're doing would make it look like is wrong when you see the way politics is going on. At first, you make it look like you don't even agree to anything. But then, after you make a stream and you're just someplace else while the stream is happening, because you're in a show, you're in an interview, you're getting interviewed, and they also want to ask you questions, and you don't really fully put the answer out there. They ask you this, instead you avoid the conversation that what they're usually trying to bring, and then you turn around. Instead of making it the way they want to listen to it, you put it the opposite. And here's the thing, my way of thinking politics is not like, oh, kill the guy, grab the gun, shoot him in the leg. No. And a lot of people that, and there's even some regular Americans, white Americans, who, I mean, Americans are just people who are a variety. So, regardless, we're all considered someone in the same vote. You don't say that he's an immigrant and that he needs to put in jail even though he's a citizen. So it's just weird. You're saying that someone who is like you, who has to make a citizenship and an oath to become an actual citizen, you're saying that the person don't have to take an oath just to be American citizen and do whatever they want. So I don't care. I don't care what you guys say to try and scare me because I've seen a lot of things that Hassan tried to do with bigger content creators, and then he tries to take it out on small ones like me, right? But the thing is, he don't have no evidence, and the thing is, people like him would try to put a fake image, saying this is him, this is the guy who had the tattoo on his wrist and his fist. Not a Venezuela, sorry guys, a guy who is the father of a child and has a wife, that guy had to be put somewhere else for something he didn't really have in his knuckles. The picture that Trump tried to show is a guy with a tattoo on the knuckles. What did the guy had? Nothing. He didn't have no tattoos in the knuckles. So you can try all you want to scare me, but it ain't gonna happen. I just won't let it. I don't I'm not afraid of people who would try to lie about other people. Okay. The only reason why I don't really like Trump is because he don't care whether you're a black American or white American, but the other side, the wrong side, is trying to lie. Okay. Trump is trying to lie. And here's something I want people to get straight if they're still listening to this asshole of a president. Okay. Just a little knowledge, okay? Trump didn't really do enough. And the other side were trying, they had to take care of everything. Trump didn't do shit. And then the Democrats are doing more than the Republicans, even though sometimes they get hope because Republicans try to start an argument, right? And yeah, some people would say that because Democrats are just falling for that bait, then they're both childish, right? Okay, if they are childish, then why is the other side the one blaming the other side instead of working together? No, people want white supremacists to work together and the black Americans to do what they say, like they're his servants. And so the people who are still listening to the guy, they're just basically being used. They're just pawns because Trump hates everyone. He's not trying to start a bond between people that usually support him. He doesn't care about anyone. He don't care about you. He don't care about me. And he don't care about the people who try to support him because eventually he'll try to turn and make a fast move and just get rid of you too. You know, any person who even supported the guy, they're also going to get down regardless. Okay. And here's the thing, we have a friend who actually supported the guy. What happened? She's also kind of paying more in taxes regardless, right? It didn't matter if she supported the guy. She's American, but her blood is Puerto Rican in a way. But think about it. Sorry, throat, a dry throat. Um, you're backing up the person, but yeah, he's going against you, right? How does that feel when he tries to turn against your backs at the last minute, right? Stupid, stupid. I call people that support this guy stupid, and they don't understand why I call them stupid. When you support a guy who is starting to build up his own record as a criminal record, why? Why do you say, stop calling Hassan stupid, stop calling Denham stupid? Let me just tell you right now, you know, a lawyer who they try to put a lawsuit against, and he does YouTube videos, content, and all that, and live streams. He ended up going against Hassan. He ended up, he took down both Hassan and Denham's because Denham's tried to take someone on, and that person is actually from the same nationality. He's a Jew. Palestinians are just Jews. But there are some good Jews. And so the other Jews want to take it on another Jew because that Jew sees them trying to fight against him in the lawsuit, which he had more evidence that he didn't really do anything wrong, and he only does what he has to do, and he's a lawyer. So you're saying that Hassan is good and Denims is good when they try to take down this guy as who is a lawyer, and this lawyer actually defeated their asses in the lawsuit because Hassan and Denims don't really have the right evidence to prove that this person's a rapist, this person's a pedophile, this person's that. How do they even know? And that's why they lost, because they had no evidence of anything about that person, and so they lost. Okay? When they are paying attention to politics, they're just turning it around, right? They make it look like they understand. And yeah, they understand, then why you flipping it around? You're doing the exact same thing as the guy who is our president is doing. And that's not a good thing because once they start to find out that you're lying and you don't have no evidence that the other person did certain things, Like, why take it out on other people who are actually like you? And that guy's a Jew. And he defeated you in a lawsuit because you had no evidence against him. Like, you don't want to do that. Like, putting a lawsuit that's for no freaking reason? Like, are you thinking in your head? Or are you just saying things that you only think is the right and the truth? Like, you don't think whether it's the right or wrong truth. You just got to go with the flow and just pay attention, because if you don't pay attention and you're trying to take it out on someone like me now on the comments, because you know that I'm not money wealthy, right? But here's the thing, if that lawsuit was fake, because if you didn't have real evidence, that lawsuit is for nothing, okay? The lawsuit would be useless against me because you don't have no evidence. You may have a video that you put my video in the video where you're reacting to what I said, but then you try to change what I said into something else, because Trump actually did that. He edited the Democrats' speech. And usually I'm not on either side, because I am only on the side that is, honest and truthful. Trump was never truthful, and Hassan was never truthful, because he would try to abuse lawsuits. Okay? When you're putting a false lawsuit, is because the things you got is not really evidence. It's just rumors that you put up and made up. So when I say Hassan and Denims is stupid, it's a lot of things. It's not just politic wise, it's because they tried to put lawsuits on people they didn't really have evidence. Okay. So if any person like Hassan and Denims try to put me down, there's no way they're gonna win if they don't have actual evidence or proof. Now, I'm actually gonna keep this video from the stream uploaded. So if I do get put because this guy, and I don't really have any job, I don't have no knowledge of trying to continue to get to that college school, okay? But I do try to understand when someone is just putting hate towards me, because that one video where I wasn't just saying that they're stupid because of politics. It's they're stupid because of a lot of things they try to do, which ends up being false. So the court would just say case closed, right? And but they're still gonna own those. They still gonna owe those content creators that they try to put a lawsuit against, because they lost regardless. The case was closed, they still lost, and they still have to put the money to give it to the person that they forced into a lawsuit. Meaning, if Denims or Hassan was able to put a lawsuit against me, just want to let you know that because of what I am and how I was born, they're not gonna charge me. They're gonna make sure to try and handle me to take care of them. Because, yeah, they'll put someone to assign to help me with the lawsuit on their end. But at least I know I'm actually getting a professional lawyer. If, you know, they try and pull a fast one, and they may have a lawyer, but to be honest, how did Trump avoid the lawsuit with Stormy Daniels? And this is something I gotta bring up, because he had to just close case. They didn't get the chance to finish. And so at first they didn't really have full evidence. Now, if he were to get kicked out of the White House and get out of office, then taken out, when he gets impeached and lose all the power, he's gonna have to redo that lawsuit with Stormy Daniels, because they never actually finished it. Instead, they were forced to cut it off and just wait until he's actually out, right? Because eventually he will have to continue with Stormy Daniels. So Trump is gonna fail regardless, right? He tries to put a lawyer that tries to lie like he does. And then the other person that he's putting the lawsuit in, Stormy Daniels, she actually has a professional lawyer that can handle that lawsuit for her against Trump. Now, think about this situation. What happened with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, right? Have you seen what Amber Heard was trying to do every dang time against what's his name, Johnny Depp? What happened was the second lawsuit happened just before it finished because back then when Johnny Depp put his first lawsuit against Amber Heard because Amber Heard actually put it against him, so he was forced to go to that lawsuit. And back then they had a stupid judge who wasn't bothering to answer the questions because he just had to shut up every now and then because Amber Heard says so, or the other guy who is Amber Heard's lawyer said so. And they brought up things that the judge wasn't asking when they did that second lawsuit, and then Amber Heard lost, right? But the things how it happened with the second lawsuit, Johnny Depp decided to put that lawsuit back on her when she tried to put it on him again. This time he put it back on her. And so now they're putting the lawsuit against each other. And you don't do that if you don't know how to handle the lawsuit because if they're going to ask you something, you have to answer their question and answer the truth. You have to answer honestly. So, how you know if the person is doing something similar when you have politics like people like Trump involved, he's doing something similar. He can't actually say anything because with Amber Heard, if they say the truth, regardless, they're still going to go down because later on they're going to realize, before the lawsuit ends, they're going to realize that the things they just try to do is just try to delay and halt the lawsuit when Johnny Depp is trying to put the truth against them. They just try to delay time. They try to wait it out, try to distract. Okay. And that's not how you do it, man. You don't distract the lawsuit. You have to continue it. Don't halt it because regardless later down the road, with that second lawsuit, you're gone. You're not going to win. So you may end up being successful the first time, but the thing is, if you're not having anybody who's professional lawyer material, you're just going to lose. Okay? That's why Johnny Depp was able to win. He had the honest truth about when Amber Heard was giving him illegal, unprescripted drugs. Marijuana was the one that she got and gave to Johnny Depp, saying that it would help him. It only made it worse. She only did that so that way she could brainwash him and make it where he would be so high to a point where she thinks he won't see anything and then he won't remember anything. Because she was just trying to overdose him so that way she could get the you know what I mean? You don't do that, and the men wouldn't do that to you. Johnny Depp didn't try to do that to her. She just did it against him, and she forced him into that spot where you had the sex sexual relationship when he was only wanting to have love. He didn't want no relationship where it's just sexual because he couldn't he didn't want to deal with that. And when celebrities get pulled into a sexual thing, it's because sometimes the some females would just be desperate, right? They just want to be sluts, they just want to be whores. That's when you have to put something back, right? You have to get back at the person who is just using you to put you in a spot where you're just not comfortable, but she does it anyways. And then when you're knocked out, you're now in a situation where he had to go to court, right? And just explain the honest truth because the second time he put an actual judge, he went to an actual court where they had a good judge. Now, if you go to a spot and they only have the worst judge, right? So the person who is honest is going to lose because the person is putting a judge who can only support that guy who is trying to put the other guy in a lawsuit for no reason. So it's weird. It's weird how people just want to abuse the lawsuits and courts and sessions, all that sort of stuff. You don't do that. You got to play by the law. You got to play by the rules. Because if you're not going to play by the rules, and yeah, there are some very bad courts that would just, you know, put a lawsuit and support that lawsuit. And then when it's switched, it's like, I don't want nothing to do with this female's lawsuit. I don't want to go to her court. She's just making me go to her court because she just wants that advantage, right? And it could be a guy too. The guy could put a misleading lawsuit just to like force the person into a tight spot for something he didn't really do. So like you gotta take things seriously. If you don't and you make it look like a joke, so when you're in the lawsuit and the other person is being truthful and honest and you're just laughing at it, that shows the evidence right there that you're just clueless and doing it on purpose. You don't do shit like that on purpose because then it'll just bite you in the ass back. You know, yeah, I may not be very, very experienced with socializing with a lot of people, but like I understand when someone's taking it too far and the other one has to fight back in the lawsuit, right? Why do you think Johnny Depp just decided to fight back with the lawsuit against Amber Heard? Because he knew if he didn't fight with the honest truth, because some of these courts will actually understand the truth, others don't. Because if the person tries to get that person into the court they're going to, the other court is just going to support the bad guy anyways, right? Because the person that was putting the lawsuit wanted you to go to that court. So in a way, if that person put a lawsuit against you, you got to say, we're going to my court that is more honest than the other one, right? Because when you have a judge and the other person has a judge too, but that person want you to go to their turf, so that way they can lure you and bait you. You don't do that, man, because I'm aware when certain people are gonna try to do a lawsuit against someone, and when they say we're going to this one, then the other person is just trying to lure and bait him to the other one that he puts, right? So if he wants to put a bait, don't fall for that bait and just say, we're not going there because that court has a really bad reputation in history. Depending on if that court is only supporting you and only believes in your lies because you're fooling him too, then where does that lead you? Hmm? Because yeah, you may end up winning the first lawsuit, but then I'm gonna be like, we ain't going to your lawsuit, your court, because you just want to do what you want to do. You want them to hear what you want to hear. You want them to believe what you want them to believe. That's not how it works. If you want to survive, I'm already aware when a person's going to try to put me in their court, right? To do the lawsuit, just don't fall for the bait. Make them suffer and fall for your bait. And the way you're going to do that is completely different, the way on how that person does it and how you're going to do it. And if the person's going to do it fair, or if the person's just going to use the lawsuit to abuse it and troll it, to try and mislead and put false information when other news services are broadcasting it. You don't do that because later on it's going to bite you in the ass regardless, you know? That person will abuse the lawsuit and then win because she abused and put false information to a point where now all these news service, they're already watching, they already saw what you did, and then instead of me being forced to go to your court, the government will say otherwise because they already know the reputation of you and how you won the lawsuit. I'm already aware of how would people abuse the lawsuit and try to. There's a fly. Sorry. Um, if that person was so desperate for me to go to that court, I said, we're going to a court that is more honest and can actually have experience to do the real fair lawsuit. And that's when you go to an actual judge who has more experience than the other guy that you're trying to get me into. I'm not going to fall for that. I'm not going to fall for someone who tries to put a lawsuit against someone who is not just a normal person. Okay? Yeah, I may have slight autism, but I'm not stupid. Okay? And yeah, I got ADHD. That makes me trigger. And here's the thing, you do not want to mess with people like young people with disability. That's just going to go on you 10 times harder. Because if I went to your lawsuit and because I failed and I have disabilities, and you put a lawsuit against a person with multiple disabilities, that's not how it works. And just letting you know, you want to do it. But I don't have to show up because I don't have you don't have evidence that I did anything wrong. And you're just going to put fake evidence, a picture with something I don't really have in my body. So if you're going to say, "Oh, he had a tattoo, he's a criminal. He he's someone who committed a crime." What did I ever commit a crime to? Nothing. Because I can't really do all that because I don't like that type of way. Other people would do that path and then they'll blame it on someone else. That's something I don't get myself involved with criminal crimes, actions, and stuff because I don't really do any of that stuff, meaning I am innocent and I don't have no criminal record because I never think that way. And here's the thing, if you put a report to put me in a lawsuit, if you don't have evidence about me having a tattoo or anything like that, you're just dumb. You're just dumb because you're trying to get a person with multiple disabilities who you don't like. You think he's retard, but he's not. He just has a lot of disabilities, but that don't make him dumb. And that's something you have to think in your head. Taking it out on a person with multiple disabilities and some few health conditions, like, you're just really dumb. You're just really dumb trying to take it out on someone who's with disabilities and you're not, right? But I think people that try to blame it on someone else because that person is exposing the truth of Hassan and Denims, you're just taking it out on someone who does not have any records of crimes, of criminals. And if you call me a rapist, I don't even get myself involved in those type of things. That's because I'm not even allowed to do things like that because I can't even afford a relationship. And I don't really get involved with other women. I never get involved with kids. I don't do that. That is wrong. That is sick. And Hassan and Denims, they have people already exposing the things that they usually do after streaming, after a video that they upload. I've seen things and listened to things that are actual truths about Denims. She actually did it with multiple guys when this one guy had her, you know, let her stay, and then Denims gets some random guy, one random guy, do it nonstop, and then everything is covered with nasty shit. And I'm not that type of person. You see, she got herself in trouble when some guy was trying to offer a place to stay. The reason why I know this is because there is actual sources when somebody is reacting to this guy's video that Denims actually was with, but then she tried to make it look like she's all innocent. cute, kind-hearted, and gullible, right? No, she wasn't gullible, and she was only doing it on purpose to bait the guy that she went to his house because the guy let her stay in, and then got kicked out. Why? Because that guy he was trying to be nice to her. What happened when he came back home? That was happening, right? So is Denims really taking it seriously with politics? It may look like it, but it ain't even close to the truth. So, okay, I'll leave you guys at that. All right, bye.